Danielle Gallagher is a mental performance coach. She founded the DO Method to help athletes unlock their whole potential by using the four absolutes of development. Former softball pitcher, mom, fellow coffee drinker, and wonderful friend that I've gotten to know these past few years. And she's here with us live. This is going to be a great conversation. Dee,
What's
welcome to the pod.
up? Oh, it's so good to be here and see your smiling face. I miss you.
Every time we talk, I just can't help but have like a huge smile. I say this all the time of like, man, I wish we could have met sooner because if we would have been teammates, like
Besties for life.
yeah, besties for life, we would have gotten in so much trouble and made so much memories.
Not
But
too much. I would have kept us on the straight and narrow, or you would have. We would have
you're
balanced
like,
each other out.
I wish we lived closer. You just ran a half marathon. We talk about all the things. We text each other about hormones and just life outside of being mental performance coaches and mamas and all the things. So
Yeah.
help the Fearless fam. Give us a 1-2 punch. Like who's Coach D?
Yeah, Coach D. Well, I'm in Puyallup, Washington, which is about 45 minutes south of Seattle. Um, and I was a former collegiate pitcher, pitched at Concordia University in Portland, Oregon. You were in Nebraska.
Concordia, Nebraska.
So that's why our paths are just so aligned. But yeah, I really found mental performance when I returned home from college and became a college coach. And it was there in which I was getting feedback from my pitchers, especially like, oh my gosh, Coach D, what if this happens? Or what if coach doesn't play me? And I was hearing these thoughts that I had as an athlete that defined me incredibly. And I just kind of, as an athlete, I thought, well, it's just the survival of the fittest. Like, I'm not going to admit that I have these thoughts. I'm just going to go out there and figure it out. Right. And oftentimes I didn't. And I wore it all over my performance. I was defined by it in the hallways, in my relationships, in various roles, as a student. And so when I was hearing these comments from my college girls, I was like, there has to be solutions. And that's when I um, gained a mentor in life, Colin Henderson. He is the ultimate mental performance coach. And he really took me underneath his wing and taught me some simple tools and systems to use with my girls. And we started using them. And I kid you not, Coach Evie, like there was like the clouds dispersed in the sky and there was clarity, there was confidence,
Yeah.
and there was success. And these girls continue to have a relationship with me to this day. And they're like, Coach E taught me these skills way beyond the field. And it was things that I took into job interviews and raising kids of their own and in relationships. And so, anyways, I guess really long story short, I turned it into a business. And so nowadays I work with girls 10 years old all the way up to D1 athletes on how they can strengthen their mental performance from a very holistic manner. So not only diving into the mental approach of the game, but putting a magnifying glass on how they're fueling their body, how they're moving their body, and also, how they're cycling through their body, and cycle really alluding to the menstrual cycle that us females go through. And when we can bring awareness to those four absolutes, we've token them as the four absolutes of development, we really unlock this new level that these girls have really never seen exist before. And so that's a little bit about me. You can ask all the questions you want, but yeah, that's a little bit about what the DO Method is about. The DO Method, because my name used to be Danielle Orvella, and so DO was my initials, but also putting our mindset into action, do. And so that was why the company was named the DO Method.
Also, why we're in the same boat. AB. Everyone says, where does AB come from? AB is my maiden name. That's I don't, did
Right.
they call you Do or Do? Like, what was your nickname? Did
D.
you
It was
your
D. All
yeah.
through college, it was D. Yeah, because I feel like there was always another Danielle on the team. And I did not like the nickname of Danny. And so it was always D.
Yeah. Yeah. Old nicknames. They're hard to get rid of. Yeah.
Hmm.
A, B, and D. Just you slap a coach in front of it. Now you're Coach D. Now you're Coach AB. Why we get married? Why would we sacrifice that?
Right. I know my husband was like, well, you can do DOG, like you could be Coach Dog. And I was like, no, we're not going there. That doesn't work quite well.
How about no?
It was a bad idea.
So you've also given pitching lessons, and I would
Yeah.
love for you to talk about the moment of like, the spark of what I underlined in my notes was absolutes. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes, especially myself, if I were to go back and look at my career, if somebody would have tried to teach me some of these things, unless I understood why it was so important, I would not have seen it as an absolute. The mental game was just figure it out. My dad always used to say, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, right?
Hmm.
Like just just be tough. Like that's who you are,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so the absolute of like if you're not training this, and you talk about the four, right? So like fuel, movement, cycle, and mental. It's like
Hmm.
remember the activity that we did at the retreat where we had the balance beams
Yeah.
that you had me put together? My father-in-law
Mm.
went to Lowe's and bought the like wood blocks for you.
Yeah.
It's like that imagery. And if you're not, you can't see my hands moving, but you think about this balance beam,
Hmm.
and that kind of relates to that activity of like you can have all the physical in the world,
Yeah.
but if you're missing these four components, no wonder she's wobbly. No wonder she's on that confidence roller coaster. So is that where you want to take today? I would love for you to kind of share your expertise of like, why are you so passionate about this? And why are the four absolutes called the absolutes?
Yeah, totally. And I think it comes back to like understanding systems and things. And really, the first ask that parents are like, hey, how do I get my daughter confident? Confident is kind of the buzzword that we get as like, I want my daughter to have the confidence and see her the way that I see her. Right. And I know you've heard this a ton as well. In so to me, confidence is the flower, right? That you see above the surface. But what creates the flower is the stem and then the roots and the seeds below the surface. And so when we define belief or confidence, if you will, I really break it down into two things as your thoughts and then your behaviors, your actions. And so, yes, in my first, I would say 3 years, I was like, okay, we got to transform your thought. We got to really root and create new neural pathways. So we were structuring better thought. And I found that that only got us so far. When we brought this behavior part of it into the equation of like, well, what do your behaviors look like? Because you've been a pitching coach, you were alluding to it earlier, is like, you want these girls to be able to throw strikes, but it doesn't happen in the hour that they're with you. It happens in those extra reps that they're doing in the garage at home or throwing their sock against their full length mirror in their room at home. It doesn't just happen one stop shop, right? And so, again, that's a testament to behavior in conditioning their routines and therefore things that I've tokened as the four absolutes, which, like you said, it's mental, which mental is the thought. It's your nutrition. How are you fueling your body when it comes to your carbs, your proteins, your fats, your fibers, your hydration, your movement? Are you getting stronger? Are you refining and polishing your skill to get there? Because we know that, guess what? If I want a freaking six pack, I have to go to the gym and actually do the reps. I can't just wish upon a star and have a six pack in the morning, right? Like, I wish that was the world. And we see too much of that in this generation is like, we think it's just going to be, or we assume it's just going to be handed to us. Like that job that I'm supposed to get in 10 years, oh, well, it will just come. And it's like, no, you have to earn it. And that's what our dads taught us because you and I had very similar dads that
Similar.
like just the way they raised us. And it was the bootstrap mentality. It was you go out and you earn it, right? And so that really is that physical portion, that movement portion of the four absolutes. And the last one is hormones, right?
Yeah.
And this is really breathing a little bit into my belief about um, our Western medicine, if you will, but too much so. And this is a belief that I'm strong and passionate about, but too much so we just prescribe something or we just put a band-aid over it instead of understanding, hey, okay, well, why isn't her menstrual cycle normal? Right? 40% of teenagers have irregular cycles. And that's not good, right? We want to think like, okay, if menstrual cycle normal is like 28 to 35 days, if they don't have a normal cycle, there should be some ear perks in figuring out as to why, right? Because right now, the lenses that I'm generalizing here, so please forgive me, but the lenses that we put on are so much, okay, I want to give her the skill. She needs to go to lessons.
Right.
She needs to go be on the best team. We don't have that same curiosity as to, well, why is she having super abnormal cycles? Why is she not feeling like I want the same curiosity about the other things that matter way more, in my
Yeah, it's
opinion.
like the analogy of a house built on sand versus a house
Thank
built on
you.
stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Mm-hmm.
you're getting at. So as you were talking, I keep seeing this, and I just saw this today on Instagram that they're
Okay.
trying to do more studies linking ACL injuries in soccer players and how hormones affect the fascia in the body, and that when you're menstruating, your ligaments are looser and we're not feeling our best. And I've even noticed this in the gym now that I've been lifting more. If
Mm-hmm.
my max out week falls during that week of menses,
Yep.
I am not PRing. It's just not physically there. And so, you and I have giggled about this, but I remember my dad saying, "Oh, when's your period coming? Got to make sure I get you a Mountain Dew and a Snickers. We're just going to pump her with caffeine and
See,
sugar."
my dad didn't even do that. Like it was just
Oh,
like push through it. Like there was not
oh
even a way.
yeah.
Like that's good that your dad had a little bit of awareness.
But okay, so before we hit record, we were talking about this, and I think the thing that we need to understand is this can get overwhelming really quickly. There's a
Heck yeah, I
lot of
can.
research. For every research article that's out there, there's more research to be done. Like this just is right now, I would say it's still kind of taboo of,
Yeah.
you start talking about hormones and cycles and nutrition, and it's like, well, no,
Mhm.
we'll just do more hitting lessons. We'll just do more pitching lessons. It's
Right.
like,
Because
no,
it's easy, it's comfortable,
yes, it's
right?
comfortable. But the phrase that you and I talked about before we hit record is knowledge is power.
Hmm.
So the fact that you're listening to this episode right now, this conversation, is you are gaining the competitive advantage because you're now aware of this. So how do you go from awareness to action?
Yeah, I think if we're speaking in terms of the four absolutes, right? I think some non-negotiables that I give my athletes to do is post-performance. It's a 24-hour rule, right? So we don't necessarily get to spill all of our emotions and point fingers and all the things until 24 hours after they are done competing, if doable, if realistic. Obviously, we know that, tournament weekends, you don't
Yep.
really have 24 hours to deal with. But I do a reflection. So they have to put their evaluation on paper after their performance, which we evaluate. How did I prep for this performance? Did I get good sleep last night? What triggered me? Did I control my controllables? What was my swing thought? What was my defensive thought? And they're able to reflect on that, get it out of their system and onto paper where they can then see it as almost like an observer, right? And now they can pull lessons away from that and they're not reacting on emotion. So I think that that would be kind of my non-negotiable for mental, as like, hey, we
Mhm.
need to do some kind of post-performance log. And even if your daughter is dealing with this even post-practice, have her do a post-practice log. It doesn't hurt her, right?
Right. I
Because
won't talk with my one-on-one clients until they've done that. Like I
yeah,
really cannot help you as a mental performance coach. And if you haven't done, I call them wins, mistakes, betters,
so
WMBs.
good. Yeah.
And if you haven't done your WMBs, either in your phone or your notebook, we're going to be
Mhm.
doing it on the call. And so wouldn't it be a much better use of our time for you to have that debrief done so that I can
Mhm.
just coach you? That's,
So good.
I love that you make that a non-negotiable, because
Yep.
I think there's a lot of times where athletes don't, again, going back to this like absolute non-negotiable, whatever you want to call it. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you have this goal to be better. It's going to take what it takes to
Behavior change.
Trevor
Yep.
Noah, right? Of like,
Yep.
takes what it takes. You said you wanted this. Now this is what the non-negotiable is. So
So good. And I think we bridge the gap too, because too often we end up probably spending a lot more time with the parents and the players because they're there every single night at home, maybe in the car ride home where things aren't, maybe they're all spicy. Um, but having the parents do a post-performance log too in a way, right? Of like,
yeah.
how can they be better for their daughter?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've seen it probably too often than not. I've seen it, but it's like these parents want it so bad for their daughter. Emotions just encompass the whole situation, right? So
Yeah.
if the player has that assignment, then I also think it's really fair to give the parent that kind of assignment too. And it's not on, well, this is what Susie Sally should have done, and it's what could you have done better?
The
The
parent.
parent done better,
Oh, girl,
right?
we're gonna have to get into Canva and whip something up.
Right?
All
Some
right,
logs.
parents. By the time this
Another
episode
freebie for
airs,
y'all. I love it. Nutrition, I think nutrition, it's gonna sound so cliche, but making sure you eat breakfast. Like this is such a thing. I work with, I would say roughly about 30 athletes a week. And there is a large majority that come to me and say, Coach D, I just don't have time in the morning to eat breakfast. And I'm like, no, non-negotiable. You gotta eat breakfast. And once we can get the breakfast in, then we talk about what are the ingredients of that breakfast. But first and foremost, it's the breakfast. Um, when it comes to the physical performance, absolute, the it's just moving your body, making sure you're recovering. So it's funny that you were talking about the correlative of the ACL and the fascia, and um, studies have proven that we reach 80% of our bone mass by age of 18. And that bone mass starts as soon as sex hormones start in our body. So as soon as our menstrual cycle begins, we have to think as parents, as coaches, as the support staff, that's when my daughter needs to start physically moving her body in a way that isn't just like at practice. Like I need her to be working flexibility and mobility, right? Speed training, maybe adding a little bit of strength. I know the girls are starting their menstrual cycle a little earlier than say we did nowadays. And so
oh, I didn't know that.
that strength piece, like, hey, you need to get in the gym and start freaking lifting some iron. Like it's
Yeah,
hard for me to tell a 12-year-old to do that, but just keeping that in your frame of reference of like when that menstrual cycle starts, that's when my expectation is slowly but surely we need to start integrating some strength training into your weekly
yeah,
routine.
that makes sense. But also,
Uh,
I've noticed the amount of injuries related to bone mass, like
mhm.
growth plates and like just very weird injuries that I've noticed just in my small circle. I only give lessons to a handful of girls. And
Yeah.
the amount of times that I've had doctors come back and say it's something to do with the bone mass is very interesting to me. Do you think that has to do with overuse of very specific movements?
Yeah, this is
Um,
actually this is where I nerd out, Coach Evie. Like
yeah, I want to know your
I nerd out
perspective.
on this kind of stuff. Um, in my strength personal trainer, strength coach that I have inside of our membership that supports our athletes in this, she's also a nerd in it. So when we get on a call, it's like crazy. But I was just talking to a sports medicine doctor, gosh, 2 days ago now, and he was saying the most common sports where he sees injuries, um, I guess let me get to the point here. So baseball, softball, and what was the other one? It was baseball, softball, and I want to say it was lacrosse, but I could be wrong on that. He was saying we don't train to play the sport. We play the sport to train. In every other sport, we train our bodies to be capable of doing the sport.
Uh,
Baseball, softball, and like I said, I think it's lacrosse. We do the sport and then figure out we got to train our body, like train our body while doing the sport.
mm,
But because I was having a pitcher, she was having some pain with her curveball, and he was like, she hasn't gained that mobility in her wrist, in her forearm. And so there's some issues going on with nerves because she hasn't trained her body to be able to be mobile enough to execute these long hours, especially in softball, right? There's
right.
no pitch counts. Like you just go in. Sometimes you're the ace of the team and you got to pitch all the games and we need you for championships and come on, girl.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like,
I hope that pitch counts become a thing too.
oh, I pray.
Softball.
I pray. But it goes back to your point of like, that's why we have to, from that young age, start incorporating it. Even if it's in your garage and it's a core circuit or it's a explosiveness circuit, let's do it.
Yep.
Right? Because then again, you're making great habit for your daughter to have post college. Like, I'm sorry, but in high school, when I was a high school athlete, the gym was for the football players, and I did not belong in there.
Yeah, but even the lifting workouts that we did in college, I came to loathe the weight
Oh,
room.
me too.
I hated the weight
1000%.
room. But now that I have better form,
Mhm.
let's be honest, more sleep and just like
Winner, winner, chicken
more
dinner.
body awareness, I was a great softball athlete,
Mhm.
not a great athlete. Like
Yes, and I
like
think this
literally
was
what you're
yeah,
describing.
the sports med guy that I was talking to.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he was saying.
Yeah. Like if you had me say, all right, AB, let's do some box jumps. It's like that girl is going to sprain her ankle. Get her away from those box jumps. If my former teammates are listening to this, that was like a running joke. I sprained my ankle walking off a curb at Jimmy John's. Oh, parents,
Oh boy.
don't skip this. Don't skip this absolute. But like, I think the hope that I have for this next generation is that if we're addressing them as whole people in mental
Mhm.
performance and what we do, but also it sounds like what you're doing is like also the whole body
Yeah.
is it's going to start to take some of the pressure off because we're building them as whole bodies, whole people. You just happen to play softball. And by the way, when you focus on the whole body and your teenager is well rested and well fed, she might be a little bit less teenagery, to be honest.
1000%.
Just
Her
saying.
hormones are regulated. Yes.
Yeah.
1000%.
It's going to be more enjoyable for everybody.
Yep. Yeah. And then the last non-negotiable, which falls in the hormone absolute, is tracking your cycle.
Mm-hmm.
That is a non-negotiable. We have just a PDF. You just put it on your nightstand or your bathroom mirror. I have it on my bathroom mirror. You just write down like, okay, day one, and then you just track symptoms. If you want to track weight, cool. I don't advise it, but you're tracking your cycle so you understand, hey, I'm in luteal phase. So you know what? I might be a little cranky. And then guess what? If dad's walking by the bathroom, he can see, okay, she's about to start period. Maybe I need to be more softer around the edges, right? So there's just again going back to that first point, maybe that you made is awareness.
Yeah.
Because when you can fulfill these other behavioral needs that your body needs, they're non-negotiables,
Needs.
mindset can be so much more profound and stronger. Like
Yeah.
you're going to have more resilience, right? When you do face adversity, it's like, I'm made for this moment. I got this because my other buckets are full. I
Right.
just haven't had a granola bar today and I'm trying to go on 4 hours of sleep. No, you're rocking and rolling.
This is why. Okay, let's go extreme for a second.
Okay,
This
let's
just
rock.
popped into my mind. This is going to sound psychotic. This is why they use starvation and sleep deprivation as war tactics. If you
Mhm.
really wanted to crumble your enemy or take down someone who is strong, what would you do? You
Yeah.
would not feed them. You would deprive them of their sleep. And what
Distract them.
distract them, you trigger them.
AB, what is this? I mean, I don't know. Podcasts can't see the
Yeah,
right? The
our phone.
phone is
Phone.
like the root of all evil. And I know I'm just preaching to the choir with these parents and these kids. You guys probably know it, but it's such a distraction that we cannot ignore.
Yeah.
It's like our lifeline now.
Do you
But this
remember
is
when
the
we took
reason
the
we don't
phones
get
away?
sleep.
Yeah. But do you remember when we took the phones away at the retreat? The year that you came to the retreat was the first
Yeah,
year that we were like, we're taking your
no
phones away.
phones. Hmm.
They were so nervous. They
They
didn't.
didn't know how to talk to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild.
Isn't that wild though, dude? Like it's it's crazy. But it seems like if we go back to that equation, right? The equation of thoughts plus behaviors
Yeah.
equals our beliefs. And then we add this filter of cell phone in social media on top of our thoughts and behaviors. Like without a doubt, your beliefs are going to be terrible.
Oh, you and I have talked about that as it relates to business. It's very easy to
Oh,
get caught up in comparison, and I'm not
mhm.
enough. It's not good enough.
Yeah.
And like, here's my thing: is some of the people that I'm comparing to have like production companies and like professional photographers following them around. Like some of these influencers now.
I mean,
This is
Evie, don't you
hilarious.
have that? Come on, girl.
The Masters. This was the big thing about the Masters. No phones are allowed at the Masters. Did you know this?
I didn't.
The Masters tournament is the big
Yeah, yeah, golf.
of the
Yeah, yeah.
golf. So at the Masters tournament, now the big thing is like all of these Instagram influencers, like Pookie. Do you follow Pookie and Jet?
No, I don't do it. I don't do
So
influencers. My girls try to tell me, and I'm like,
all
yeah,
the
you lost
yeah.
me.
But think about like all these famous influencers that have now been invited to this golf event, but there's no phones allowed. They literally have people, camera crews, following them around with like fancy cameras and microphones and all the things. And it's like, how many times do we compare ourselves to people who are not stepping in our reality? You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know how that would apply to softball, but like, think about if you're comparing yourself to another girl that got a Division 1 scholarship, or hit a certain, here's another one of like everyone holds up the radar gun.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so she hit 60 miles an hour on the radar gun. Did she hit that one time, or did she hit it 7? Did she hit it on a walkthrough, or is she,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, you just have to take it with a grain of salt of like you said, you called it the lens.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So good.
But it's all coming back to you. It's coming back to what can you do and how do you take care of yourself? Because I
Yeah.
guarantee if you're busy comparing yourself to freaking social media influencers or, D1 athletes that maybe you're still 12 years old or 14, right? It's
Yep.
like come back to taking care of yourself first. The four
Yeah,
absolutes. What are you
you're the
doing?
secret. You're the secret. You want to know what my number one hated viral post is on Instagram? Every time I post it, I haven't
What?
talked to you about this.
No.
It's my yellow sticky note. I post this a couple times a year. It's so good. Confidence will never come from a coach, a teammate, or parents. It's an internal decision to be proud of who you are and what you can do.
That's the number one hated post?
Here's why. Here's why. You know how many people comment on that saying, absolutely, a coach can affect your confidence. A coach can take away your confidence. Oh, but I had a good coach. A coach can give me confidence. Absolutely, this can affect this. And every time I comment back, I say, you're missing the point. Because if a coach can give you confidence, you're also giving them the power to take away confidence. The only way that your confidence can be true, lasting, unshakable confidence is it comes from within. And people do not like hearing that. They don't like hearing
Mhm.
that because they want a scapegoat, or we're all hurt humans
Right.
seeking the approval of others.
Well, and when we can put it on someone else, gosh, it doesn't make us feel so exposed. Feels
Yeah.
I feel still in my comfort zone,
Yeah.
right?
Isn't
Awareness.
it
You
wild that
have
that's
to
my
have the
most
awareness
argued?
piece. What was it, Amy?
Isn't that's to me, like, that's my most viral. Like, either you get it or you don't.
Yeah,
Those that
1000%.
get it. That's what I'm saying, is that like your members and your membership and the performance portal and like the fearless warriors, like the people that we get to impact, those that get it, get it.
Yeah. 1000%. And
Can you
those
talk
that
a little bit
don't,
about this? I want you to share what it is that you're working on. So you work with little leagues, you work with teams, but you have a really cool portal where we've talked about the 4 absolutes. It's called the
yeah.
performance portal, right? Am I getting
Yep.
that right?
Yep. Yeah,
I
so the performance portal, I want you to imagine like it's Netflix for these 4 absolutes. So you have a category, just like you'd have like a comedy category on Netflix, you'd have a category for mental, physical, nutrition, and hormones. And so you can go through, gosh, we have hundreds of resources on there now. And each resource, I would say, could take you from 5 minutes to an hour to complete. It comes with worksheets, all the things. And so our athletes get access to all those resources, and then they get access to 2 live trainings a month, in which we have a live masterclass on the second Sunday of every month, and then a live Q&A the 4th Sunday of every month. And so that's kind of the gist of what every member receives. And then inside the membership, they have the option to do one-on-ones with any expert that's on staff. So we have experts inside of each absolute that they could book a call with to make sure that they have a great nutrition plan, or that they want to really breathe into strengthening their thought process and their recovery process. And so we lock in on that. In the live trainings, they oftentimes, college athletes will get on a panel. We'll have a recruiting expert come on and talk to our athletes. I had an MMA fighter come and talk to our girls about fear, and that was freaking awesome. Just because, she faced fear every single day of getting her face knocked in, and
Yeah,
so
getting punched in the
really
face.
cool things happening there, in really cool results. So that's what the performance portal is all about.
I love it. And I've
Yeah.
loved seeing the evolution of this. And I would
Right.
love more than anything to book a call with the hormone coach. So
Yeah. She would love to book it with you
I
too.
would
She
love to
was
dig
a
in.
former D1 athlete at ASU. She was a gymnast
Cool.
at
Yeah,
ASU. Yeah.
that's awesome. Well,
Well, Amy, I so appreciate you having me on this call. It was so good to see your smiling face and just chat and catch up with you.
yeah, and continue to send our voice notes. I would love to hear your answer. I can't end this without asking you our favorite question, which is, if you are a time traveler and you could go back in time and give yourself a message, what are you telling yourself?
If I could go back in time, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. It said my internet connection was
Oh,
unstable.
you're good.
Um, I think it would be to put my blinders on and not care what other people thought so much. That was some monumental noise that I had in my life, whether it was, caring so much about what my dad wanted for me, and wanting to please him and make him proud, caring too much about what my teammates thought and what my coach thought and the perceptions that other people had of me. Um, if I could go back in time, I think it would be to tell my younger self, put your blinders on and you do you. Nobody else controls you.
So good. Advice
Yeah.
taken. Mic drop. That's a great way to end. I know you've got lots going on. I appreciate your time, and you and I will continue the conversation. Where is the best place? We'll tag it below. Is Instagram?
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of like hanging out on Instagram.
The Do Method, or it's the domethod.com, or it's Facebook, the Do Method. We like to keep it simple around here.
We'll tag those below.
Cool.
And information for the performance portal and all that good stuff. So when this episode airs, if you have any questions or follow-up, you are welcome to DM Coach D or myself if you have questions, and we'll get you hooked up with the right resource, the right person, or if we don't know the answer to your question, we're going to be Googling it. So
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. Have a great one.